This podcast is scheduled for one fall.
Whoa, who let you out of the basement? Let me do this. This podcast is scheduled for one fall, and I'm still not reading any of this other crap you wrote, so just click your buttons and start the show.
Hello, people, and thank you for joining us today on the Gimmick Table. I'm your host, Matt, and across from me, the Demi Moore to my Patrick Swayze. He is Bats. And for our next contest, I think we're going to give away some of your lovely, lovely pottery that I helped you craft while I wasn't wearing a shirt and you were just in a nightgown.
Yeah, that was fun. I remember it vividly.
Wait, wrong podcast. Sorry.
Funny story about pottery. So, my grandpa was driving home from Georgia with my grandma, and she didn't have her glasses on, and they drove by this little, roadside, bodega or something. But my grandma thought it said Kentucky pottery, so she convinced my grandpa to pull over so she could buy some pottery from Kentucky, which she apparently thought was some type of valuable relic or whatever. Turns out it was Kentucky lottery, and they bought some scratch-offs.
Wow, that's the worst story ever, and that's how I'm going to spin that, is the fact that you said Georgia. In a few moments, we're going to be joined by our guest, Trever Aeon, who is from Georgia. He recently moved to New York. We're going to get to learn about his experience last 6 years in professional wrestling and the stories that he's got to tell us. Before we do, though, we want to take this opportunity to tell our listeners about an awesome comic that any wrestling fan is sure to appreciate, and that's none other than Invasion from Planet WrestleTopia. We got the chance to check out this sweet comic. Basically, just to give you a little rundown, after he is cheated out of the World Heavyweight Championship by an unscrupulous wrestling promoter, Rock and Roll Rory Landell defames the American Wrestling Federation's most prestigious prize by declaring himself the galactic champion of the universe. And years later, a planet of alien wrestlers intercepts the TV signal of Rory's interview and interprets it as an act of war, Bats.
Yeah, gotta be careful when you're sending out those galactic signals.
You gotta be very careful. Anything you say, that's why we're very cautious on the radios, because at any time, who knows who's listening? It might not just be the FBI, the CIA, the NSA. It could be intergalactic federations of spy aliens. Alien spies, excuse me.
I'm not gonna say it was aliens, but it was aliens.
Guys, Invasion from Planet WrestleTopia sci-fi wrestling comedy hits harder than a spine buster off the top turnbuckle. Filled with larger-than-life characters, epic wrestling battles, romance, and enough twists and turns to give the WWE a run for its money. Ultimately, however, it is a story of one man's heel to face. And why that plug sounds so good, that's directly from the press release. And if they can write a press release that good, I can tell you that the storytelling is just as good as in the comic, because I got a chance to check out the first issue, and it's great, guys. So make sure you check it out for yourselves.
Yeah, once you see the cover of this, the art style of this comic is pretty cool. It's a very, very nice looking comic, so it's easy to read and it's easy to look at. It's fun all around.
Definitely right, dude. And get your copy today. It's available on sale on Amazon, available in both paperback and Kindle for digital version, also on iBooks and Comixology. All right. It's that time, Bats.
What time?
Stop reading the comic, all right? I said you can do it after the show. It's time. Everybody, please join me in welcoming to the Gimmick Table. He is Trever Aeon.
How goes it today?
It's going somewhere. I couldn't tell you where.
Well, that's a good way to start the podcast, not knowing where you're going. Luckily, we do have some questions here, as I put it earlier.
A bunch of
questions for you here. We apologize for the little bit of a late start. We had to stop the flood in my kitchen of coffee that was creating a waterfall down my...
the cough-tastrophe.
Yeah, that was so organic.
You've broken the law of nature that you do not spill the coffee.
I am. We're part
of all of the coffee.
We're part of the coffee #coffee corpse on Twitter.
Coffee core.
Corpse.
I think it's pronounced core.
I think it's corpse.
Is it pronounced Marine Corpse or Marine Corps?
Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Just leave me alone, okay? It's been a long day. I'm sick. I'm not feeling well. Anyway, Trevor, you recently moved to New York. How do you like it up here?
I love it. It was kind of on a whim, but it was something that I've been thinking about for a while, and I was just like, I'm just going to do it and see what happens, and here I am.
And how long have you been up in the great state of New York?
just since like late December, and I had been up here. I was up here a lot last year anyway because I was booked up here a bunch. And I'm talking to the promoters up here and everything. I was like, I'm just gonna give this a shot at staying up here.
All right, now you move up during one of the coldest times of the year, and we went through one of the coldest few days, few months. Well, it's the whole year pretty much here in upstate New York is winter, and then 3 months of summer.
Yeah.
So,
but you never know when you're gonna get those.
Nobody told you that? Nobody gave you the warning that it's pretty much 9 months of winter with every other season jam-packed into 3 months.
Yeah, there was I definitely wish I had gotten the warning. I would have prepared a little better for that part. But it's okay. Georgia's weather is completely out of its mind, so it'll be summer one day and blizzard the next day, and then spring the day after, and then fall for a week. So it's just, after a while, it doesn't bother you anymore, regardless of what it is.
I do need to inquire, what is a blizzard like in Georgia? Yeah. Because
it's not really a thing. Even if it's a lot of snow or a lot of ice, it melts the next day. It never lasts more than a couple days. We had that one really bad storm, I guess, a few years ago that wasn't really that bad, but bad enough that there was like ice on hilled roads, so your car couldn't go up it or anything, and nobody was prepared for it, so nobody did.
Right.
We all just stayed in our houses for 3 days.
Well, nobody in Georgia should feel bad, because when people in New York sit there and make fun of people from the South who, when they get like, a dusting of snow and the schools are closed or whatever it is, they post their memes. They act like they know what they're doing in the snow. And let me tell you, as somebody who's lived in New York his entire life, New Yorkers have no idea what they're doing in the snow. They're terrible drivers. They freak out like they've never seen.
Speak for yourself, buddy.
Not just you. I'm not saying you specifically, but how often do you hear somebody in the state of New York start, "Oh my God, it's snowing outside"? It's like, of course it's snowing outside. We live in upstate freaking New York. What did you expect to happen?
It snows every year.
November and March, and we're still in April.
That's true. I have heard that quite a bit.
So nobody in Georgia ever feel bad, please, because people in New York are talking out their buttholes, and I'm allowed to say that.
The truth comes out.
It does come out. I think in the entire time since I've been born, there's only been one blizzard, and that was in 1993, and technically like 2 years ago, that wasn't even considered a blizzard.
Yeah.
But it was back then.
It was back when we were...
But see, also, like, down in Georgia, because my uncles lived down there for about, like, 20 years now, and, I mean, I remember back when it first actually started snowing, like, almost every year, like, he was like, it doesn't snow down here, like, the first time it snowed in, like, 10 years.
Like, that wasn't even a thing, like, it's like, it wasn't, it's a thing that you need, just that you didn't really experience it, because it didn't happen.
Right, now, like, the rest of the country, like, even, like, Texas and Florida, like, they're starting to get snowfall on a yearly basis.
See, global warming's not real, folks. It's global cooling.
Well, that's cold, man.
Global cooling.
Snow's cold.
Global cooling. Coming to you in 2025. Alright, so back to more important things. When did you first find professional... Well, it's a wrestling podcast. Talking about wrestling's more important. When did you first find professional wrestling?
I always like telling the story because it's kind of random. But I was a kid. My grandma was watching wrestling, and I just happened to walk into the room. And at this point, I think I was like 5 or 6. So at this point, I was already like reading comic books and crap. So when I walked in the room, what I saw on the screen to me looked like comic books. Like it looked like Spider-Man. So I was like, what is this with these real people like beating each other up? What is happening right now? And I didn't leave the room, and I kept doing that, and here we are, and I'm 31, and it just has not changed.
Well, you fell in love with it, you kept with it, but who were some of those people that you kind of connected with early on as a fan?
When I almost immediately gravitated towards Macho Man because he would just even watching like his matches with huge dudes, he'd just run up and go, "Oh, I'll kill you, giant. I'm just gonna punch you over and over again." So I went. I was like, "Well, I want to be like that dude." I then run up and punch the biggest dude at the time until I knock him out. And then over the years, I know Macho Man was probably my first like favorite wrestler ever. I was a big Sting fan when I was a kid because he looked like a crow. Like not so much when he's a surfer, but when he turned into a crow, because I'm a dark creeper and I like dark stuff. I was like, oh man, he's the crow now. That's amazing. That's great. Obviously, I was thinking, later on when Raven came along, I was huge. Raven's actually my top 5 like of all time. Big Edge fan. I'm trying to think more of my teenage years. Yeah, those were the guys I'm gravitating on.
Now, speaking of The Undertaker, how'd you feel about his squash match there over John Cena?
I was excited about how awesome he looked like doing it. I was like, man, he came back like on fire. I wasn't expecting it either. I wasn't expecting him to like have a long drawn out thing that none of us thought they were gonna have, and then all of a sudden he comes out straight. Oh, all right, that's cool. So maybe that's what happens every year at WrestleMania. Somebody gets really cocky, he calls The Undertaker, he comes out and annihilates you, and he disappears.
Yeah, in the darkness.
And collect a
I was
lot.
volunteered to be that.
Hey, and collect a lot of money to do it.
But hey, can I call The Undertaker every year?
Every single year.
That's great. Sounds good. Let's do it.
Now, kind of going from when you first connected to these guys, when did you realize that pro wrestling was something that you wanted to do?
Now, that actually came a little later. Not a whole ton later, but I started telling people that, oh, yeah, I think I was a wrestler when I grew up, probably when I was like 8. And then everyone's like, oh, you're too small. And I'm like, well, I'm 8, so what? Later, obviously I'm not going to jump in the ring at 8 years old, 100 pounds, and try to duplicate the Big Show. It's just not going to happen. So, but I didn't really obviously we probably all said that as a kid, but I didn't really get really serious about it until I was about 17 or 18, and I actually started looking for cool. And then I got sidetracked a ton of times until I was like 24, and I finally found the school I went to in McDonough, Georgia. Micah and Tracy Taylor were the train, and I went to an indie show in Georgia, in Louisville, Georgia. Actually, I met a guy named T-File, and he pointed me to them, and I showed up there the next day, even though like initially he's like, yeah man, I'll be there too, you'll know somebody. And then on the way there he's like, oh yeah, so I'm not gonna be there today. So I'm like, okay, I don't know, walking into that. And I came from like, I was training to box at first, and over the time of training to box I was like, man, I really want to try wrestling, but I don't know, I should probably get bigger. I hit weights really hard, I was eating everything right, lifting super heavy all the time. So by the time I showed up to training, I think I was like exactly at the 200-pound mark. It was like almost, I had like no fat on it all, so I looked like super awesome. It was really exciting.
All right, well, 2 things. First of all, again, after WrestleMania, clearly you should have tried to be a wrestler when you're 8, because right now we have a 10-year-old who's one of the tag team champions.
No, I'm kind of mad I didn't do that now.
Yeah, you could have, set the bar, so to speak, a lot earlier. You missed the ball on that one. Is that the right phrasing? I don't think that's right.
Missed the ball.
Yeah.
Missed the boat?
Yeah, you missed the boat. I Rickied that one. All right, so you kind of touched on your training a little bit, how you got in the door, but take us through that first day of training. What was that like for you? Your buddy bailed on you?
Yeah, man, like nothing prepares you for the landing the first time you take a bump. And I just, from sparring and boxing, like I was usually getting punched in the head with headgear on, and body shots and stuff. And then we moved on to kickboxing a little later because I was trying to learn how to kick. And even doing rounds of that, the first time I landed, like when I got there, I was terrified because I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm walking into. I don't know, these people are about to rob me when I walk in here. What's about to happen? This is set up. What am I doing? And I'm like, oh well, if I die, I die. If it hurts, it hurts.
Yeah, right.
That's generally the attitude I end up having about most things. I'm usually only nervous about 10 seconds, and then after that, I'm like, whatever. So I get there, and Micah and Tracy are sitting at this table, and they both look incredible, like they look like they were drawn. And I'm just like, man, I thought I looked good until I got here. All right, well, I hope I'm ready for this. And then I think the first couple things I did, I learned how to run the rope. I did rolls, and I finally learned how to bump. And the second I hit the mat, I was like, oh, all right, I'm sure I want to do this, because I just knocked the wind out of myself. But apparently that's common, so I didn't feel as bad. The rolls and everything were fairly easy. The footwork and everything was really easy. That stuff came to me with no problem, probably because of the prior training. And the whole first day was really just a kind of like are you sure you really want to do this? Because we're about to destroy you, to make sure that you really want to do this. So, and with Michael being a former Marine and spending a lot of time in Japan, that's how I was trained. So it was really, really brutal. It pushed like my fitness to the absolute limit. I didn't even know I could do half the things I did when I was there. But I came back the next day and I wouldn't leave. And I was there like every day, 4 days a week for 3-4 hours at a time, and I wouldn't go away. And that's how we ended up at this point.
Okay, you're persistent,
but it pays off.
But what do you consider, especially early on in training, what was one of the most difficult and most challenging aspects for you?
Okay, this is gonna sound really ridiculous, but actually grappling and chain wrestling was one of the hardest things for me when I got started. And it sounds funny even to me saying that now because I'm good at it. But when I started, just the muscle memory and the knowing where to put body parts and how to get in and out of things, I had to do it 100 times before I got it, like all the time, everything.
And outside of that, how did you kind of push yourself? Because like you said, you're there in the gym 4 times a week, and you won't go away. But there's got to come a time when you kind of got to ask yourself, is this the right thing? How do you get over that when you're feeling down on yourself about what you're doing if things aren't going your way?
Repetition. Like, if I'm not getting something, I will do it over and over again until I get it, or I will find a way around it so that either this thing that I can't do isn't a liability anymore, or I can do it in a way that suits me. There were a lot of like little things here and there, just a body play that just from a mental standpoint I couldn't do for some reason, like even with the way I was rolling. But once you have to do this one specific way, you have to do this thing this way. Once I got rid of that, I'm like, well, I'm gonna do it with the way that's comfortable and safe. Once that part clicks in your head, you can pretty much do anything. Well, whatever your body's capable of. Because I can't pull off a 630-degree moonsault as much as I wish I could.
Yeah,
that's not one of those things where if you keep trying, the results could end up pretty bad.
The trying part is if this goes wrong, I can't.
You can only try it so many times.
Speaking of which, everybody listening, we all know we want to see my co-host, the wonderful Bats, the wonderful flying Bats, attempt this feat. So
I could do it on a trampoline.
Nope.
I had a trampoline. I could do it on that.
Nope, no trampoline. Off the top of the roof.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely remember those.
Yeah, dude, trampolines were the shit. You could do any wrestling move you wanted to anybody. It's like zero gravity. We used to take skateboards and take the trucks off them and just have like the deck, and you could pop them up and like kickflip them and spin them real easy, and that was fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm gonna get a trampoline just so I can do that again.
It's gonna be one of those tiny trampolines, though.
No, I'll get like the
4x4. Where are you gonna put this?
Single person. This is room in the backyard somewhere.
All right, guys, we're getting a trampoline. We got a new.
Maybe we should get the big one.
New YouTube channel.
Nobody wants to watch us jump on a trampoline.
When we fall off it, they will.
Well, all right.
I mean, it'll give views. It'll give views.
We could come up with some interesting challenges on the trampoline.
We've done some interesting stuff. Jumped off the roof a few times.
Yeah, I don't jump off roofs anymore. We're going to use that as a segue. So things start coming together for you. How long do you go from from the start of your training to your debut?
It was, I want to say it was probably about 6 months. And it was actually supposed to happen sooner than that. But plans got switched around for that particular show. It was a show called Global Championship Wrestling in Alabama. And my trainer at the time was the champion there. So all of his students basically started out there because we just all jumped in the car. We're like, oh, we'll just go to the show and we'll train at the show. We'll help set up, take down the ring. We'll help put in the chairs and until it was time for all of us to wrestle. And because there was, I think, me and maybe 3 or 4 other guys who we went to the show a bunch of times still training. So we weren't, or at least in my eyes, I wasn't ready to wrestle. But I showed up to the show one week and it was just kind of all right, so you're wrestling tonight. And I'm like, what? Wait a minute. But it ended up going a lot better than I thought it was going to, because that was probably the one time in wrestling where I was absolutely petrified until the bell rang, and then I just switched. It switched off as soon as the bell rang. Like that little ding noise was just like, oh, you're someone else now. I'm in control. And it's funny because I say that now, but I go back and I watch that match hate. But at the time, being completely inexperienced, I was just, oh man, I can't believe I got through that. All right, well, if I did it once, I can do it 150 more times. That's pretty much what happened.
I mean, we've heard a lot of success stories of getting thrown to the wolves. So apparently, that's that's the way to get the step up. I mean, obviously, being there when you were at the right time and them needing somebody to fill in, and I mean, you just stepped in and did it. So that makes you a prime candidate to do it again.
Yeah, and I definitely helped that I wrestled one of the guys that I trained with, so it was very easy to, like, it was somebody that you're already comfortable with, which is funny because I say that because then the very next show, 2 weeks later, and I was in the ring with, I think, 2 of the guys we were facing were one of the guys I trained with him. I can't remember who else was in the match, but it was a bunch of unfamiliar people. So I was just like, oh, well, I kind of got thrown to the wolves that first time, but since I trained with that guy, we at least knew each other. But then the next time, I was like, oh, I'm going to be confronted with things I've never seen before. I don't know what this guy does. I've never met him before. So nowadays that doesn't really happen so much. Like, it doesn't matter who it is. I'm super comfortable.
Well, yeah, but I mean, a good takeaway from that is you got put in the ring the next match, like, or the next show. Like, you know, obviously that's the start of your career right there, is going in not even prepared for it, but coming out, you know, ahead of the game.
Yeah, and luckily for me, the basics were drilled into my head so hard that even if I couldn't, because at the time, I'm like, no lie, at the time I could not do anything impressive. Like, I didn't even know how to use my own, like, abilities to really pull something super impressive out of myself. But I could wrestle, like, cohesively and competently. And at the time, that was enough, especially in the South. Like, you can get away with doing a lot less a lot of times.
Well, I mean, you know, a lot of those people are there for the theater.
Yeah. They didn't really, and I mean, this was 2012 too, so the landscape and the whole industry is probably a little different especially than it is now. But the crowd was really easy to draw in as long as you kind of just listened to them, which that was drilled into our heads early on, is to pay attention to what the noise the audience is making or what's going on with the audience. Not to let them control your match, but to pay attention to what they're doing.
Exactly, because that's why everybody's there. You know, you want to make sure that when you have your time out in the ring, no matter how long it is, that they are invested in that time. And because if they are, and based on their reaction, the better the reaction, the more chances of you getting more bookings with that company, getting a better spot, and getting, you know, that better payday. And kind of just touching back to the first match, you know, having that first match, it's something that, you know, from everybody we've spoken with, you got to go through it. You know, you can have all the preparation in the world, you could train for 10 years, but you'll never know what it's like to have that first match unless you actually step in there and get your feet wet.
Yeah, and there's only so many times you can say, oh, I'm not ready yet. Oh, I'm not ready yet. Like, I would have said that for probably years straight. They would just be like, nope, you're doing it.
And it's good to have that. Do you think that was important, having somebody else there for you, you know, literally saying, okay, we're literally pushing you in the water, it's sink or swim now?
Yeah, I'm lucky that I had a trainer that believes in me enough to say, hey, look, this dude, he can, I don't care what he says, he can definitely have this match, so don't listen to him, put him in the match. I totally would have been like, oh, I don't know, maybe next month I'll be ready. And I probably could have did that for 2 years straight. So I'm glad that didn't happen, because at a certain point, experience is one of the best teachers.
Definitely. I mean, you know, it would be, I think, a lot of people who go down that road where they're like, you know, they say whatever it is, you know, I'm not ready yet, I'm not going to do this. They're going to be bottled up with a lot of regret for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And regardless if you go out there and you have the worst match ever, I'm pretty sure if I trained for 10 years, I would still have the worst match ever in the history of professional wrestling. And at least I could say I did it if that's what I wanted to do. And who cares if I never do it again, but at least I can say that I went out there, I tried it, I sucked, but I did it. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's better to fail than not try at all.
Right, and anybody we've talked to says this industry is all about, like, opportunities and taking those opportunities. And regardless of, you know, what you think you can do, you got to take those opportunities when they come along and step up.
Yeah, true.
So what he's really saying is it's all about the
opportunity.
It's now like 3 words.
But he's right, you know, because I mean, if you sit there and every time you say, you know, I'm not ready yet, imagine you're literally closing the door on thousands of opportunities that can just stem from the very first opportunity.
The alternate universes that just ripple off of that.
Exactly. It's way to drop the water. In another universe, you didn't do that.
Yeah, and the cap was screwed on in another universe too.
Oh man, at least there's no electrical stuff over there. Apparently we're just spilling liquids all over the house this evening. That's what happens though. We're New Yorkers. We're clumsy. Watch us drive. So See, it's been 6 years for you, and you how have you gone to improve your in-ring abilities?
So, and I mean, I'm assuming that this is true for everybody, but I actually never stopped training. Even once I was given the go-ahead to work as much as possible, get booked up as many shows as possible, I never actually stopped training. So I kept that up until my original training school closed down, and then I didn't really have anywhere to train for a while, and then I started training at Robert Gibson School as well, and I popped into WWE 4 in Atlanta a few times. It turned into this thing where I started treating wrestling like an RPG video game, and I was just like, I'm just going to go and learn different stuff from different people, and I'll just put it all together and use it as best I can based on the situations that I'm in. And I've been doing that for the longest time, because I think I want to say my training school closed down in like 2013 or 14, somewhere probably the beginning of 2014. I can't exactly remember time, but right after that happened, like the seminar thing started bringing up a lot, and I just took it as a challenge. Like, okay, well, I lost my original training school, can't do it anymore, but I can bounce around and learn as much as possible from all these different people in all these different places. And you'd be surprised at how much useful information you get that way. You'd also be surprised at how often you hear the same stuff, because a lot of the things that my trainer originally taught me, I heard again from other people. Like, I did a training thing with Joey Mercury, and he reminded me a lot of my trainer. And I'm just like, man, I've heard all this before, and I'm trying to figure out why. And then thinking about it, it's like, oh, that's why. Because I've been taught this already. But there's nothing better than, especially later, when you can apply it better. Because when you initially learn it, you're just trying to take it in, you're trying to remember it, trying to figure out how to use it. But later, when you're kind of coming into your own and you're hitting stride, you hear that information again that you maybe forgot about, or that you maybe didn't know where to put it, and just it's like having a fresh set of ears on it. You hear it again, the way you think about what you do, the way you think about wrestling has changed. All of a sudden, it's like it opens up like this whole new world. That's happened to me so many times in the past few years that like I feel myself improving rapidly on like a regular basis. This is like every other week. I'm like, man, I got this new thing I can apply. Oh, I got this new way of thinking about this. That'll make this happen. That'll make that happen. And part of that is listening to various audiences in different towns, and part of that is going back to what you're taught when you're trained and how you apply it later on, and how you apply all the other stuff that you hear. Because not all instruments are useful. Most of it, even if you just learn the right stuff, you just learn the way to not do something. That still counts.
Well, I mean, that's like definitely a really unique approach to your training too, because I don't think we've heard anybody who's gone around. I mean, I've heard people say they bounce around from gym to gym, but yeah, I mean, that's cool that you go. So, I mean, you basically just absorb all of the knowledge you can, and
yeah, pretty much.
That's nice. That's cool. You got a nice repertoire building up from that.
That's pretty much exactly what happens. Like even when I'm at shows, like thinking about what I'm gonna do and what I'm gonna use, how I want to approach things that night. It's just all these little voices. Like, yeah, I learned this from this guy. I'm gonna use that tonight. Yeah, but I got this from over here. I'm gonna use that tonight. Oh yeah, this will fit really good in here. Just all the time.
Right. I mean,
whereas I remember before being airing of ideas. I don't know what I'm gonna do tonight.
Well, I don't know who this quote is attributed to, but it's what is it? Everyone you meet knows something that you don't. So like, yeah. I mean, that's basically a great way to learn, like you said, like RPG, like a set of special skills. Like every person imparted like a certain set of skills on you, and those are like secret skills that other people don't have because they didn't go to those guys.
Yeah.
I wish everybody could see my smile while he was explaining that.
I don't know, I like the video game reference. What do you want me to say?
Yes, that was a great video game reference, and you expanded and elaborated on a way that everybody already understood.
Well, I mean, whatever. I don't know what you want from that.
No, I was just proud of you. It was great. You got the word repertoire into the show today too. You can't.
Yeah, I don't know why you're being such a dick.
I'm not being a dick. I wasn't trying to be. I'm sorry.
All right, go ahead. Segue.
No, I can't segue now because you had to ruin it. But kind of also not just talking about your in-ring abilities. What about expanding and developing your gimmick?
Now, this was really funny about that. That actually came to me long before any of the in-ring stuff did. And I'm not necessarily certain why. That was just one of those things that I always just kind of felt kind of good about. So even when we, like, if you've ever spent a day at wrestling training school, you do all the in-ring stuff, everybody's excited, ready to hit that, and as soon as somebody says, all right, we're going to work on promos, everyone's like, oh, and it happened at my school too. Like, oh, I don't want to do that. No. I mean, I was the exact opposite. Like, hell yeah, let's do that. Yeah, I can't wait to talk. Let's run my mouth. It's going to be awesome. And I took that from being training and being critiqued on that stuff there, and I would just go home. I would think of character traits and like personality traits that could go into a person and try to single those things out and try to accentuate them. Different ways to look at my face in the mirror, different ways to say the same exact thing as different people, I should say. Trying to like, not trying to find out how to be somebody else, but trying to figure out how to present myself to the audience in a way that'll be entertaining. That'll make people either go, I really hate that dude, I hope somebody knocks him out, or man, that dude's really cool, I hope he wins because I love him.
All right, so you kind of touched on this all episode, you know, speaking on expanding, developing the gimmick, but really that fan interaction. So how do you connect with the fans?
Wait, we're just gonna gloss over, I hope he wins, I love him.
It's usually when people...
Bats, I was going to
like,
cut that out.
It's so weird because I'll go into a place thinking that, especially when I was in the South, like when I work shows in the South, I go to a place, I'm like, man, I'm going to walk in this place and these people are going to be like, what's this vampire looking black dude? Like, I ain't down with that. And it's generally, unless I like forcibly upset the crowd, it's usually the exact opposite. The initial reaction is, oh, that guy's kind of cool, and it's just, I don't know if it's funny because I feel like my look has been completely, like, my look has not been optimized until now. Like, I've gone through several different outfits, all kinds of different crap that I've worn, and really, I don't feel like I presented myself properly until recent. But for some reason, even before that, I don't know if it's just because they felt like, oh, well, he believes whatever it is he's doing, regardless of what I was doing. So I always get the, oh yeah, that guy's kind of cool, until they tell me I can talk, and then it doesn't. It usually changes pretty fast.
So I mean, you're leveling up your vampire skills.
Yeah, leveling up the vampire skills. I mean, I'm not really a vampire, but to most people, I either look like a vampire or a hitman. So, and it's fine. I'll take it. I'll take both. If you combine the two, I don't really care. But it definitely works. I'm on that wavelength, so it's totally fine with me.
And like you said earlier, this is something that you had all the way from the start, this idea of your current gimmick?
Yeah. I already thought that if I took just my initial idea was to take my worst personality trait and just make those the centerpiece of this persona. And that's pretty much what happened. Like, I took all the worst things about me and said, I'm going to make this a character. And I just made him into a person. And then I didn't really have to become him because I already was him. I just had to shut off certain parts of my brain or block out certain thoughts where I'm thinking like normal me, like thinking like real life me, where I'm kind of chilling, and think like pro wrestler me who wants to elbow people in the head. So.
All right. Well, with that said, kind of for our listeners, kind of explain who is Trever Aeon.
He's a dark, eccentric dude who has a really, really deep grudge against the world for a bunch of different reasons, and those reasons kind of come out depending on where he is and who he's dealing with. But for the most part, it's just this guy feels like he has been in shackles his entire life, but he also feels like the rest of the world is like that. And originally, he wanted to help people out of their shackles. Now he kind of doesn't care. He wants to take advantage of the fact that, okay, you guys are in shackles, that's fine. Then I can rule, and I can have all the fun. I can take all the things. I can take all the money and the food and the girls and the whatever, and I'll take it for myself, and I'll take it back to my crypt in my clock tower and have fun with it. And you get none because nobody gave me anything. Nobody rooted for me, so I don't care. So he's kind of a bastard. By kind of, I mean he's a total bastard.
Yeah, he kind of sounds like a dick.
Yeah.
Is that the word of the day?
Yeah.
He's an evil ass.
But hey, it's what's gonna. I mean, if you're trying to get over, and there's two ways you can either make everybody love you or you can make everybody hate you. And in this day and age, it almost seems, especially when you watch mainstream wrestling, that the guys that should be hated are the ones that are loved, and the ones that should be loved aren't so much loved anymore.
I once called an entire crowd idiot, and they cheered. I was like, what?
People love that, man.
Yeah, and like it was radiated off of me. Like you could tell I was very serious. And it's, yay! Oh, okay, all right, great.
Yeah, you guys, y'all are dumb.
Hey, they are proud to be stupid.
This guy's out and is just like the best human being ever. I need Captain America to come out here and punch me in the face in order to make this work.
Well, you could be like that one guy I saw recently. I mean, he spit on a little kid and with the gum, and the dad got so upset over it, he ran out and started throwing punches at the guy.
Oh, that's a thing that happened?
It did happen, yeah. I watched that on their internet thingy they got out there.
That's hardcore.
Yeah. I mean, it was gum, but it was a kid, so I get it. I mean, you probably shouldn't spit at people in general.
Yeah.
It's a sanitary thing. It's awfully disrespectful as well. I mean,
I think it's assault.
I think depending on the state,
That's probably true.
Oh yeah, that's even worse.
we would be the worst law podcast ever.
And we should probably book that match. The dad versus that guy.
That might be more UFC than professional wrestling, though.
I mean, they'll make it work somehow.
But it's a line, so that's a good question for you. Obviously with somebody like you said, your character's kind of bastard, as Bat said, he sounds kind of like a dick. How do you toe that line of what's acceptable and what's crossing the line in being disrespectful towards the fans?
I try to never do. Don't get me wrong. As far as my mouth goes, I'll say whatever I want. But I would never do I try not to go the route of you getting touching them or spitting at people or throwing anything at them like that. That's probably where I draw the line, because I mean, our sweat's flying. You get that on you. If water bottles are flying, you get that on you. But the show isn't. I don't like the idea of us going out of our way to do anything physically towards actually touching the fans. I like to keep that. I like to make that line extremely clear. And even from a Trever Aeon standpoint, he's in the ring to fight the guy he's in the ring with. He doesn't feel he would be under the impression that the spectators are beneath him, which is why he isn't fighting them. He's fighting the guy in front of him.
That's a very valid point. And two, I mean, these are also the people that cheer when you call them idiots. God knows what would happen if you spit on them. They might, throw a parade for you, though.
I don't even part of me is curious, and part of me is just
let's not cross that line.
No, that would be bad.
Now, it's been about, we touched on earlier, it's been about 6 years for you now. Was there a point in your career when you felt 100% confident in what you were doing as a pro wrestler?
That point didn't come until recently. I didn't feel that at all, until the past couple years, or I don't know. And it's funny because my trainer told me this when I started. He said that I know it's going to seem like a lot at first. You're going to feel like you're not really doing anything or getting anywhere, but honestly, one day it's just going to click. And when it clicks, you can't shut it off. And that came for me sometime last year, where I don't remember what show I was on or what I was doing. And it may have actually been up here for my first Wrestlers Lab show. And somewhere in that match, or maybe even before, just something went off in my head, and I was just like, I know, I get this, I get it. And even still saying that, I still learn something every show. I still learn something every match from everybody I face. Little stuff I see online, things I watch, because I watch a ton of wrestling from back in the day to now to in between. I watch a ton of wrestling, and for some reason, something last year, when that clicked in me, I feel like that all the time. So even if I go out there and I have a match and I don't like it, I can take the parts from it that were good and understand why they worked, and then the stuff that didn't work so well, my main goal is figure out how to fix it for next time, how to make it so that maybe something I shouldn't do anymore, or maybe this is something that I should change in this way so that it fits better, it works better, depending on whatever situation.
And it was nothing specific about that, that show or anything, just click, just something almost like an epiphany?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was like. And I'm just I don't know why I'm sitting there, and don't get me wrong, that show it was the Wrestlers Lab Battle Club joint show, and I was surrounded by names, and I'm like, well, I'm totally unknown up here. I've never been to New York, didn't know what I was doing, and I'm just like, I was just excited to be in New York, because that was on my list of things to do when I got started, is to wrestle up here. And since I got there and I was getting dressed, and just all of a sudden, I don't know, I feel like this is what Goku felt like when he turned Super Saiyan the first time, except I wasn't trying to kill Frieza because he blew up my friend. But still, it was literally like a snap of the fingers, and all of a sudden I'm just seeing shapes and numbers and some kind of crazy Doctor Strange-esque.
Goddamn Goku. Goddamn
DBZ reference
Goku.
Coming out.
It's in 75% of all wrestling podcasts we've had.
Oh yeah.
Wrestlers like DBZ. We went over this already.
We have.
It amps you up, man.
We have. I understand we've gone over this on several occasions. It's still just when it comes.
You just still haven't watched it, so you don't know.
I get it. I haven't watched it. All right, I'm not there yet in my life.
Why do you think you
We're just backing this all the way up. You've never watched it ever.
I mean,
not even once?
I've seen it on television, but
all right. Put it this: why do you think you like New Japan wrestling so much?
Because it's fucking awesome.
It's Fast and Furious and hardcore.
I mean, yeah.
That's this style of anime.
It's a good story.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, well, good story. Dude, we went over this before.
We have. It's just I don't think I'm so upset about the Dragon Ball Z reference anymore. It's just how I'm still shocked how organically it just comes up randomly. Or if there's just some conspiracy where Bats gets a hold of our guest beforehand and tells him, yo, at some point just throw a Goku reference in there and let's watch Matt freak out.
That's awesome.
But yes, I guess
I could have used Yu Yu Hakusho instead.
Yeah. I guess the next podcast venture will have to do a podcast where Matt learns Dragon Ball Z, and we'll just have to talk about it.
We could just watch different animes. There you go. I've got a bunch I need to watch.
We have too many podcast ideas going on in our brains.
You can never have too many ideas going on.
It gets crowded up there. It gets a little crowded up there.
At some point, it's considered ADD.
Yeah. At some point, you have so many ideas that you can only spend 2 seconds on every idea to accomplish every idea. But since you're only spending 2 seconds on you, it's going to take you roughly 10,000 years to accomplish anything, so you're going to die before you do anything. Goes back to the whole regret thing.
What?
At the beginning of the episode. I looped everything together right there.
Kinda.
You know what? You're a dick. There, I looped everything together. Talked about how you've come from Georgia, made your way up to New York. Really, what are your goals for the next few years? Do you have any kind of like 5-year plan?
Yeah. From a major standpoint, I'm definitely trying to get overseas. That's been on my list since I started, especially since my trainer talked about Japan a lot, talked about being at 01, and that kind of stuck with me from day one. And I was just like, man, the more I hear about this, the more I want to try it, the more I want to see what it's like. And obviously we looked out. We're in the era where wrestling's exploding kind of everywhere, so there's more opportunities popping up for those things. But my major goal is the UK and Japan as soon as possible. I'd go right now if I could.
Well, if you kind of go back to what you said earlier, kind of how you kind of want to draw as much information, experience from as many people as possible, getting that international experience where there's so many different styles of wrestling, and like you touched on, wrestling's exploding, and really that's UK and Japanese wrestling are probably two of the more popular styles of wrestling out there, and there's a lot to learn. Now, what would you say when you finish with your in-ring career, what you would kind of want to do in wrestling?
Yeah, I've actually been thinking about that too. And one of the things that I've been working on a lot, and this comes with a story, but back in 2013, early 2014, I was coming out of I'm a brand new wrestler, and smile, I'm gonna wave, yeah, yay. I was coming out of that. And I was wanting to pull out more of the darker stuff that I'm actually into in real life. I was trying to put more of that into my character, and I wanted to talk a lot. So I was asking every show I was on, hey, can I get some mic time? Hey, can I get some mic time? But no one would give me. After a while, I got really annoyed by that. I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll film my own freaking videos, and I'll just do it myself, and I don't have to ask for it when I'm at the show. So I started just filming as much stuff as I can and editing it myself. And I would love to, if I can't be an announcer or if I can't be a manager, I would love to work on people's videos and stuff for them as well. Once I can no longer get beat up or throw people across the ring, that'd be great. But it's something that I started doing organically, and I kind of taught myself, and I'm still learning as much as I can about it, because I have a whole group of guys, and we put out content a lot, as much as we possibly can. So anytime we're all on different shows a lot of times, even though we're all part of the same table. But anytime we're together, we get as much film as possible. I'll take it with me. I edit it down. I cut it up. I do what I can with it. I do as much work on it as I can, especially in the midst of travel. And we have all this content to put out on a regular basis. I think we had for a couple weeks straight, we had something every day, just because of how much filming I got done the last time we were all together. So I'd love to do that as a way to just still kind of be creative. Even if you're not directly involved, you get to be that thing behind the scenes that get to affect things and present cool stuff to people.
No, it's definitely a cool thing, because it's very smart, especially in 2018. We've talked about this in prior episodes. It's 2018. Social media,
especially in 2018,
is a boom. All right, it's a boom. Social media is a boom, and there's guys out there proving that you don't need to be in the WWE to be successful. That you can go out out there. You can produce your own content, and you can be successful because people have so many means to get the content.
And not to mention, it's less and less like underrated now because it's an important aspect of this whole industry.
And like you also said, you're teaching yourself, and you can get to a point to where you can be good as somebody who spent the time going to school and learning all that stuff. For instance, our sound guy, I'm pretty sure he's never taken an actual sound course. It's everything that he's taught himself, and he's pretty dang good at it because we sound way more professional than I could do with him here. That's a shout out for the week.
He's not even here.
Thanks, guys.
He's a nice kid. But it's a very, I think, something, it's pretty, what you're talking about is really that position that goes unnoticed. It's the people behind the scenes who make everything look good, you know?
Yeah.
No, it look good, just like
getting have an amazing video package sold you on a match that you want to see.
Right.
Or is that a match that you're really that interested in, and then this video package comes on and you're like, oh, all right. You'd be surprised at how many times I've been booked on the show, and the show's a few weeks from now, so I'm just like, okay, well, how can I push this show more? Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll make a video. I did that recently. Like, if you go to my Twitter profile right now, the tweet pinned at the top of my profile is my video for SOW in 2 weeks, and it was a thing I thought I was gonna win, but after I got the promoter to book me, I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do to kind of make sure this guy knows I mean business, make sure this guy knows that I'm valuable? Oh, I know what I'll do. Extra promotion. So let's make a video, and that's pretty much where my head always goes. And they're all different. I'm kind of an artsy person, so I like to do. Sometimes I'm a little too out there, and it makes it hard for people to digest whatever it is I'm doing. But other times I have cool ideas. So this was one of those where it came out cool.
All right, well, definitely check. I'm not going to play it right now because, but everybody go check it out. We just retweeted it, so make sure you look for that. But it's, like I said earlier, it's smart. It's really a third aspect. You have the gimmick, you have the in-ring ability, but you really, at the end of the day, more than anything, it's a profession where you also have to be a businessman to a degree, if not fully.
Yeah.
Now, for you, what are some of your dream matches out there? Anybody currently performing at any level that you really just have the desire to someday be able to say that you got into the ring with?
Oh man, that's a really, really long list. But let's see. I'm gonna throw out a bunch of them. But I want to wrestle for Yehi again. I've wrestled him a bunch of times before, but not where I am now. Like the few times that we wrestled each other, he's always been way more advanced. First of all, he's an incredible wrestler. And we've had fantastic matches together. But I think now would be the perfect time for us to really have that. Holy crap, those two dudes really went at it match. Because really want to wrestle Marty Skrull because our characters are both bastards, and I'm just curious as to how much fun the reactions would be between the two of them. I want to wrestle Jason Kincaid. His character is like a guru, but he's really positive. Well, I'm the exact opposite, and just the interactions in the match alone would be enough for me to be like, oh man, that works all the time. I'm trying to pick from every single level I can think of. Still thinking.
Oh, you're fine. Yeah, thanks. Because I was going to be like, are you still... Just that because I know we cut out sometimes.
Oh, crap. Yeah, this big one. Cody Rhodes. I've been super inspired by watching him, and I just feel like we mesh well facing each other. I also want to wrestle a lot of those... And this isn't a particular person, but a lot of the guys that are just... I like to throw elbows and knees and such, and I want to wrestle more guys like that who kind of do that kind of stuff so that we can have, the exchanges and everything that we can have, and the stories that can be told when you're in a match with somebody with a similar skill set is a story I haven't gotten to tell often, and that's a story that I would really like to tell a lot more in the future. Jay Lethal's a big one on my list. Big, huge dream match for me. It's super important. That's probably top 5 on my top 5 list. That's he might be number 1 actually. And then super ballpark, probably super far off. Holy crap, I can't believe you would say that, and you probably get this answer a lot, but Okada's one of mine too.
Yeah.
I'm sure that happens a whole.
Yeah,
I'm sure that happens a whole.
Who wouldn't want to? I mean, if you're given again, what does it all come down to? Opportunity. And I think if Okada's the opportunity on the other, at that door, you're not going to want to say no or I'm not ready.
Yeah. But I also don't have, and this may be everybody, it may just be you, but I honestly, you could, outside of my few dream matches that I have that, oh man, I'd really like to do this, I'm really, especially at this stage where I'm just foaming at the mouth to wrestle whoever, you give me anybody. Like, I'm just ready to go. I'm just ready to, like, show people what I can do, whether that be during the match, whether it's before the match, so I'm promoting the match, and I got a promo for it. Like, I'm just ready to show people. So I want everybody. If we're like going past just the main dream matches that you want, I want everybody.
Anybody and everybody.
Yeah, well, it makes sense, you know.
All the people.
Especially, like I said, you've only been in it for 6 years. So, I mean, relative to, you know, some careers out there and some people's experience, you're still relatively new to it. And you want to be able to get in there with as many people as possible so you can grow.
Yeah, that definitely is. People think it's weird when I say that. And they're like, oh, you've been wrestling 6 years. Why do you still think that you're, like, kind of new? And I'm just like, I don't know, man. I just feel like I just consider myself still fairly new. I learn fast, which is great, but there's so many people I run into that have been doing this for 10, 15 years, provided some of them started way sooner than I did. I hate the fact that I started late, but a lot of them started like at 16, 17, all these crazy ages that my head was elsewhere at the time. It shouldn't have been, but that's where it was. But just based on like the level of experience, people that I end up around, I always consider myself new because I'm always around guys that are 10 years and 15 years and stuff like that.
Well, it's definitely good, though. I mean, definitely to have that mentality where you know kind of that you still need to grow and that you still have a lot to learn. Now, how can our listeners get a hold of you on social media?
I'm super easy to find. On Twitter, I'm Wretched Aeon. Word is Wretched, WRETCHED AEON. The same thing on Instagram, Wretched Aeon. Facebook, you can find me at facebook.com/Trever Aeon. The Trevor is spelled Trever Aeon because it happens a lot where people think Trevor spelled the other way, but I spelled it different on purpose because I'm weird. But yeah, Trevor is Trever, last name Aeon. I'm on there as often as I can be. I'm always working on content, videos, always putting things up. Matches often, every couple weeks. Whatever I have going on will usually always be on there. Before I forget, let me not forget about YouTube. My YouTube is youtube.com/TAFacekick. Everything I do that gets filmed ends up on that page. I mean, it ends up on all my other pages too, but it ends up on YouTube because it's YouTube. So please go there, watch all the things.
All right, guys, make sure you give them a follow. And when can we see you in the ring again?
Big show coming up in July. Wrestlers Lab. It's in New Jersey. It's on July 8th. The second you get to my social media, I am posting about it all the time. So you'll definitely see it. I also have we have Battle Club Pro coming up again, July 21st. That show's probably going to be massive as well. I have some other things that I cannot quite announce yet because they're not finalized, but they'll be in May. But I will make sure to alert you guys as soon as I'm given the go-ahead to talk about those things, I promise.
Yeah, definitely keep us in the loop, and we will make sure that we retweet, help you get that stuff out on Facebook as well. Give it a share. Anything that we can do to help you out.
That is much appreciated.
Anytime.
It's important.
Yeah, it's one thing that we live by. It's the homage of the show, I guess, is, you know, support what you love. So we definitely love to get out there and do what we can to help. Now, this is the fun part of the show.
The rest of the show was kind of fun too.
More than it was more talkative than usual this evening. It's because
was it?
I think it was the extra coffee grounds in his coffee. Give him a little extra boost of energy.
Yeah.
So this is the part of the show where we unhinge the gimmick table. We need a sound effect like. I just did it.
No.
Sounds like a dying whale.
That sounds like something.
It does. It sounded like a whale.
So, Bats, take it away.
All right. Well, before we start the Unhinged, since this didn't come up organically, I understand you guys have the left hand path is your stable there. So I don't know if you've ever heard of Left Hand Brewing Company. They're a little craft beer company.
I have.
Yeah, they got some pretty nice. Their stouts are good.
Yeah, we've been trying to get in touch with them. We're trying to make something happen there.
Yeah, I mean Colorado, so that's a little bit out there, but
yeah, and it's not. I don't know what exactly is going on for wrestling out there, but we definitely it came up in one of our meetings, and we're like, hey, did you guys know about this? No, but let's do this with it.
That's cool. All right. So the Unhinged tonight is I guess coming up is the Avengers Infinity War movie. So we'll go a little comic book theme. Got some of the Avengers here, and maybe you tell me which of your favorite wrestler or a wrestler you know which one of these Avengers applies to that guy or girl.
All right, we can do that.
Can we do somebody besides the Avengers, like cooler, like the X-Men? Because the X-Men are way cooler than...
Nope, we're going with the Avengers.
I totally agree with that. I totally agree. But
You could do like Guardians of the Galaxy because they're
they're part of the Avengers. So.
they're not part of the Avengers.
They're part of the Infinity War.
They're part of that, but they're not part of the Avengers.
Well, they're honorary Avengers after the Infinity War.
That's blasphemy, sir.
Okay, whatever. However you want to call it. They're on.
Just get along with your.
Yeah,
Avengers.
I mean you're the one holding this train up, bro.
No, I'm fine. Go ahead. I'm just not going to argue with you over the Avengers.
No, you're not. You're done. It's over.
All right.
All right. So let's lead it off with the leader, Captain America.
I feel like John Cena's Captain America.
I feel like you're pretty spot on with that.
Yeah, like if somebody was going to be Cap that was a wrestler, it would be him.
Yeah, and also if you were gonna put your entire stock of vibranium into one person, like the WWE does with John Cena.
Do you think John Cena was just a really skinny guy and then they did that to him and this is what happened? Conspiracy theory.
He is a soldier.
Who knows?
I mean, he was in like 7 installments of The Marine.
Yeah, he might actually be Captain America.
All right.
Secret weapon in the military.
Now we know.
What about Tony Stark, Iron Man? Who's a smart guy?
That's a hard one. I'm trying to think of who kind of comes across like that.
Kind of arrogant, but lovable.
Scanning all companies. Yeah, that's actually a really hard one.
Now, smart and crafty, and I know they're a villain, but I would have to say like The Miz.
You know what?
I would, because he's smart,
no, I
all right,
totally agree.
and he's got an ego.
100%.
Tony Stark has
He
an
doesn't
ego.
really have a heart.
I love The
Man, I'm
Miz.
on fire.
I love The Miz. I don't care what you say.
I do too.
Max.
I'm actually a huge fan of it.
No, you know who Matt really loves and is next on the list? Thor.
Uh-oh.
I do love Thor.
And you would think that Thor would be easy, but he's kind of not. But he kind of is. Like, is Braun Strowman Thor? Braun Strowman's kind of Thor. Or is he a Hulk?
Yeah, he's Hulk, because I mean, just by pure aesthetics.
Hulk is on this list, and and he's pretty much always wearing green.
Yeah, that is true.
It's like camouflage green. It's not like Hulk green, but
I also kind of feel like he could fit like either of them.
Yeah, but I think you need somebody smaller for Thor, because...
Yeah, I mean, he's Asgardian though. Like, he's what, like 6'10"?
yeah, he's still a big dude.
Yeah, but in comparison to the Hulk, he's not so big.
Yeah, because then the Hulk's gonna be 8. Even at base form, Hulk's what, like 8-10 feet tall.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, Hulk is like huge. Like,
Yeah, he still towers over him too.
But
then he towers over all of us.
I mean, are we going anatomically correct here? Like, there's nobody who's actually as big as the Hulk. So.
Right, but the next best thing would be Braun Strowman.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know about that.
I mean, Lou Ferrigno Hulk.
Well, Brock Lesnar could be the Hulk.
Brock Lesnar's pretty Hulkish.
Yeah, I think that.
But no, I would
Lesnar could be Hulk.
see, because on the bottom of this list here is Thanos, and I feel like Brock Lesnar is Thanos.
You think Lesnar's Thanos?
Yeah.
I feel like Cody Rhodes is Thanos.
Yeah.
Going around trying to collect all the Infinity Stones. Every single, every promotion. Just, I'll take that.
So now
But he's not a villain.
Yes, he is. He's the bad guy.
I mean, he's a pretty nice guy from everything I've heard.
Yes, in real life. I'm talking about the gimmick here, there, buddy.
All right. I mean, who are we going with Thor here?
Yeah, who's our Thor?
Yeah, I'm still thinking about that one.
Motherfucking Thor.
Who kind of has that, like...
The problem is nobody can replicate Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth.
I forgot the last part of his name.
And Thor has, like, a weird personality. Like, it's kind of hard to pinpoint. So I'm kind of like, which wrestler, who is running around here that I would say, it's like, oh, that guy's kind of like he's like a Thor guy. It's really strange. Now, funny. Okay, if we can use people we can use people outside of the mainstream.
Yeah.
One of my friends, his name is Odinson. He is an Asgardian. So
There you
All right.
his name is Odinson.
Yeah, I mean, what?
Really, it took you had a friend, and it took you that long to bring him up.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute. If we can go this far, I'm just saying. So he technically wins that by default.
There you go. All right.
There are no limits on the unhinged.
No, the unhinged is just, whatever you want it to be, man. It's all about your imagination. Expandation.
Yeah, work on your vocabulary and let's go.
All right, well, next up is the Black Panther. He seems to be a big hit today, these days.
Just specifically?
Just today.
A good T'Challa. I don't have anybody for T'Challa. I got nothing for that one.
No one?
No.
Nobody.
Well, I haven't seen the movie, so.
Hmm?
I haven't seen the movie.
Oh, no, you gotta fix that.
I actually haven't seen it either. I don't go to the movie theaters because
Yeah.
there's a lot of people there.
Yeah, I don't support movie theaters.
I don't bootleg them either. I just wait till they pop up on Netflix. All the Marvel ones go up on there.
I just don't have time, and then when it finally comes up, I'm like, oh, I'm like in theaters now. I gotta wait until the DVD comes up. That happens to me a lot.
All right. Well, I mean, I guess we just won't have a Black Panther.
He's MIA for this episode.
It's Age of Ultron. He hasn't shown up yet.
How about Doctor Strange?
Mystically super smart guy.
You know, the guy who's using his mind to beat you, not his strength.
Yeah. Doesn't that? I feel like that kind of fits Miz too.
Yeah.
Let's use do we use like a say like a Marty Skrull there, since his character is like always finding ways to like get around the rules.
I mean, that's totally Doctor Strange's like gimmick right there, is bending the rules of everything.
Of existence.
Yeah, just like I mean, well, whatever I want it to be.
Or do we have to pick somebody supernatural? Is Bray Wyatt a Doctor Strange?
You know what? I was gonna say Bray Wyatt's Spider-Man because he likes to do that weird crab walk thing.
Well, now we know Will Ospreay is Spider-Man.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
There's no way around it.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of. Yeah, I'm just gonna
He
say.
is a literal ninja. He has to be Spider-Man.
Yeah. Well, then wait, if he's a literal ninja, wouldn't he be Batman?
True. That's also true.
Ooh, all right. Batman can be in this, I guess.
I'm making a crossover movie.
God, was this a crossover episode?
He's like, I'm switching universes.
I'm gonna get a letter from Marvel and DC.
All right, Matt. Here's your Avengers plug, or your Guardians plug. Who is the Star-Lord
Me.
in this crew?
No, but who's the Star-Lord? I'm trying to think I think I have somebody, but I can't think of their name. It's driving me crazy.
I mean, it's essentially who do you liken most to Chris Pratt?
Yeah. Actually, aren't like all three members of the New Day kind of Star-Lord?
Together, like if you combine
are
them
the-
all together, they are Star-Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're lighthearted and funny, but they're like powerful and stuff too. Because he was a Celestial or whatever.
Right, they're crafty. They got music,
Unicorn
a
horns.
lot of music going on.
Like they're impossible to not like.
I'll buy it.
I mean, Kofi defies gravity.
Yeah.
All right.
Figure out how he does it.
The New Day is Star-Lord.
He can do it because he's Star-Lord, or 1/3 Star-Lord.
What?
Is it like Voltron where they have to fuse together to create it?
Like the Power Rangers,
I like Voltron
Yeah, that's
better.
actually kind of cool. Add that to it.
right? Like, yeah, I could see that happening. That'd be cool.
Is there anybody else there on your list?
No, I mean, we're still missing the Black Panther.
Well, we'll skip the Black Panther. And
That's it.
We'll go
That's
to one
it.
more. Hold on, I
That's
got a
all.
final one here.
Oh, you're adding one to the
We're
list.
gonna add one. Deadpool.
Okay.
Yeah, that movie's coming out. It's a lot better than Avengers.
I was just plugging the big movie, man.
Yeah, and we're not getting any money for it, so stop. Who would be your Deadpool?
He does have a point there.
Who? Oh, I thought you said something.
Can we put Kenny Omega in the Deadpool?
Yes,
Matt just got a boner.
All right, we're gonna cut that part out, but yeah, Kenny Omega as Deadpool is great. I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, either that or CM Punk, because I mean, just for the fourth wall reference.
Yeah, that's true too. But I think like the kind of like goofiness that Deadpool has going on, I think that Kenny has a lot of that as well.
Yes.
The deadpan delivery too. That is.
But now I feel bad that we don't have a T'Challa.
Well, is there anybody you know personally?
I just can't think of anybody that fits that same like thing, that same like personality type that they would kind of just fit in that slot.
Yeah, because everybody you hang out with is just scoundrels.
I mean, we're pretty evil.
Pretty much the opposite of Wakanda.
Well,
Yeah, pretty much.
well, you know what we'll have to do is we'll definitely now have to have you back on the show, and then that'll be your mission if you choose to accept it. But the next time you come back on the show is to have our Black Panther.
Yeah.
Find us our Black Panther.
That's fair. I can do that.
All right.
Or a real panther.
No.
Either or.
No, we're not capturing a real panther, dude. I'm not.
You could rescue one and give it to us. If you find a panther, Matt will take it.
If you want to, I'm not gonna help you.
Thank you. I don't think that's would be very vegan if I'm capturing panthers.
Yeah.
Alright.
And it's probably gonna eat my cats. They're not gonna like bond, be like, oh, there's not gonna be like this instinctive nature where the panther's like, oh, 10,000 years ago we had the same ancestor. Because I don't know. It doesn't work for people. What makes you think it's gonna work for a panther and a cat?
I feel like the panther would attack you before it attacks your cat.
Right, but after it eats me and my girlfriend, it's gonna get hungry and it's gonna eat the cats.
Well, it's probably gonna venture outside at that point.
Where would
Oh boy, then it's gonna eat your neighbor.
Well, he's my neighbor, so I'm okay with that. No real panthers. Nobody go out and try to capture me a panther, please. I don't want it.
Yeah.
Leave the panthers in the wild.
Are we sure this isn't a plot just to get him eaten by a panther? Because that's what it sounds like now.
To get me eaten by a panther or to get him eaten by a panther?
You're trying to get him eaten by the panther.
I'm not trying to get anybody eaten by a panther.
Sure.
What about a baby panther?
I mean, if I could raise it,
Yeah.
so I thought I was
and, like,
its
declaw
mother.
it.
No, ew, you're disgusting.
Well, you would want to declaw that panther.
I'm not declawing anything.
Dude, it would just, like,
Let me
dig holes in your floor every time it walks.
Clearly, I wouldn't keep the panther inside the house.
Where are you going to keep a panther?
I would have to.
man,
I would have
How
to.
are you going to bond with the
Big
panther?
cat outside.
I'd have to build it a cage, and I'd sleep in the cage with it at night.
What? That's weird. Why would you just have it sleep in the bed with you?
You want to talk about weird?
All together.
Where did we go with this?
Panther sleeping on the foot of your bed.
This is what happens when you don't come up with an answer for Black Panther. We start talking about sleeping with baby panthers in the bed next to us.
Right?
And you wake up like with no eye, with missing half your face, trying to figure out what happened. What happened to my face? Thirsty, why did you try to eat me?
Public service announcement, people. Don't try to make wild animals pets.
I don't think it's legal.
Yeah, don't do that.
You have to have a license. Certain states it's allowed. They made changes because there was this one guy in like the 80s who got bit by like a black widow spider, and he had all these other animals. No, it wasn't that.
What?
Yeah, that was one of them. And they found his body. Like all the animals got out as the poison was going through his body. He was trying to release all the other amphibians and snakes that he had in his apartment so they wouldn't die. And when they found him a few weeks later, they had literally eaten him bone dry.
Did you see that on 1,000 Ways to Die?
No, I read it.
I think I saw
I
that.
read that there on that internet. And there was one about a guy who had like lions and tigers, and somehow like 7 lions got out. This was like in the 70s.
There was like 5 years ago this happened. Somebody...
Oh, it was 5. He got all the lions in the 70s, but 5 years ago he like died and they all got out. That's why there's been a lot of reform with what kind of animals you can own. And that's why you can't easily get your hands on a black panther.
Well, you know, because they're deadly.
Yeah.
They kill people.
Yeah, mountain lions are scary. So are panthers and
Oh,
tigers.
are panthers, mountain lions, and pumas, they're all the same thing, right?
I saw a mountain lion in Wyoming, and I did not want to get out of the car at that point. I was just like, okay, I'll take a swing at just about anything, but let's be honest here. If I take a swing at this mountain lion, if it tries to eat me, if that one punch doesn't knock his block off, I'm dead.
I mean, and nothing on you, but I don't think there's many people who could just one punch a lion.
Braun Strowman.
I'm probably.
Yeah,
Listen, what if it goes to bite as I go to punch? Then my fist is end up being chopped.
You gotta do that uppercut, because that, you know, like cats and dogs, that lower jaw, that's their weak spot.
That's what he trains on. Terrible, man.
That'll be where the damn mountain lion will have straight up sweet boxing skills and block that shit with claws.
It's like, I'm part kangaroo.
You just swat your hand away, you're like, what the?
Australian tigers are part kangaroo, mate.
Oh boy, terrifying.
All right, well, Trevor, this has actually been the craziest tangent that we've ever gotten on. It was great, though. We definitely appreciate.
It always happens when I talk to people.
It's fine. It's great. It's what we strive for. It'll be a great end to the episode. We thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you taking time out of your day and joining us.
Thank you guys for having me. It has been
Absolutely, man.
All right, that's all, folks. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate your time, and thank you again to our guest, Trever Aeon, for joining us today. It was a great episode, a wild, unhinged at the end bats. It was a lot of fun. Who will be our Black Panther? We'll find out next time Trevor joins us, maybe for a Gimmick Table rewind down the road.
Rewind.
You're great, dude. You're great. You are just organic to the T. And make sure you subscribe to the show on iTunes.
Did you just call me Organic Tea?
Organic to the T. Make sure you subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasting fix from. Or interact with us on social media. You can find us on Twitter at @Gimmick_Table. We're also on Facebook and Instagram too. Just search the Gimmick Table Wrestling Podcast. And don't forget to check out GimmickTablePod.com for all our interviews, cover art, and more. And we have friends. We say this all the time. We swear that they're real. You can support our friends at the PWO. That's the Podcasting World Order. Their shows are available on all major platforms, including iTunes and Google Play. We got the WNA podcast, the Wretched Wrestling podcast, Smart Spot podcast, Board Meets World, and the Broadcast Bats.
Good day.
Good day, mate. And that's the show, everybody. Make sure you check out Invasion from Planet WrestleTopia. Everybody have a good day. We'll be back.
See ya.